And so the early colonists in North America viewed wolves as kind of the spawn of Satan, and with those kind of attitudes, it was no surprise that we purposely exterminated wolves from most of their range in North America. Wolves were once common from what is now Mexico City to the Arctic Ocean. We eliminated them deliberately and for other social values.
Some have called them devil dogs. Others have labeled them a success story. But for centuries, there's been a war on wolves in America, ignited by those who make their livelihood in the West. At its epicenter, Yellowstone National Park in Wyoming, America's oldest national park and the ecological capital of the continent. Many native residents to the states surrounding Yellowstone claim that wolves are a threat to their lifestyle, while wolf advocates say that they are needed in the ecosystem. In the year 2012, during an annual Wyoming wolf hunting season, the most famous wolf in the world, the alpha female of a Yellowstone pack, was killed, leaving her partner as a lone wolf battling for survival. In the midst of his kind's bleakest hour, this one lone wolf's story could be the beacon of hope that will forever change America's perception of the wolf. It is one of the last days of winter in the Rocky Mountains of Wyoming, and in the early hours, across the Smoky Hills, a lone wolf solemnly makes his way back into the heart of Yellowstone. He is a familiar face to this land. It used to be his, but his life was changed forever only 3 months ago. His name is a number 755, indicating that he is the 755th wolf to be radio collared by wolf researchers. For almost 3 years, he was the alpha male of one of the park's most prosperous packs, the Lamar Canyons. The Lamar Canyon pack was led by 755 and his dynamic partner, who was nicknamed the 06 female, and whom many cited as the most famous wolf in the world. Together, they led a pack of more than 10 wolves. But in the last months of 2012, the middle of the wolf hunting season for the states of Montana, Idaho, and Wyoming, the Lamar Canyon pack migrated out of the park boundaries and into the state of Wyoming. And in that time, both the 06 female and another member of the pack, 755's brother, were killed legally by a hunter's bullet. News of their deaths was published worldwide, and conservationists roared an outcry against current wolf hunting policies. The Lamar Canyon Pack fell into disarray. With all remaining females in the pack being related to him, 755 was forced to break from his family. He was soon replaced by other males. For the aging 755, the life he once knew, the pack he once led, and the stable future he once had in front of him were no longer a reality. It has been several months since these events transpired in 755's life, and he now roams the slopes of Yellowstone, seeking what food and company he can. His coat, which was once black, is now turning gray due to his age. He travels miles each day, but he walks on dangerous ground. He is currently wedged between the territories of at least 2 different wolf packs, each of which would not hesitate to kill an intruder. But as risky as this predicament is for him, 755 has no other choice. He must find a mate to have any chance at forming a new pack. And the only way he can accomplish this is to coax a female from one of the rival packs. So he'll stick around, even if it means risking life and limb in the process. Hunting presents an altogether different challenge for lone wolves like 755. It is elk that are traditionally the favored prey of wolves, comprising 90% of their winter diet. They were once a frequent meal for 755 when he was with his pack. But as a loner, bringing down an elk is difficult, though not entirely impossible. He soon has competition, though, for even these limited resources. Grizzly bears are just awakening from hibernation and haven't eaten anything for 5 months. Weighing up to 700 pounds, they are icons of raw strength. The reawakening of the bears is the first sign of the changing seasons. With spring now very near on the horizon for all of Yellowstone, more and more opportunities for food begin to present themselves. As the thick sheets of ice layering Yellowstone's ground begin to melt, they expose the remains of those animals that were unable to survive the winter. Nothing is more enticing to the nose of a hungry predator. The smell of food hasn't escaped the careful nose of 755 either. When large meals are few and far between, the hungry take notice of anything. Even though a meal like this is a feast for a lone wolf, 755 still approaches with caution. A carcass can be a brutal playground for Yellowstone's scavengers and heavyweights. This is the best meal he's had in the last week, and in one day's time, he makes the most of it. A wolf can consume 20 pounds of food in one sitting. If coyotes remain 755's only rivals at the carcass, he just may have found himself a good meal to sustain him through the coming days. But this is unlikely, as Yellowstone's larger predators don't usually pass up a chance for a free meal. But trouble is brewing on a different front for all wolves and their human advocates. The annual period for harvesting wolves has come to an end for the year, and the grim numbers have finally been tallied. 7 out of Yellowstone's 10 wolf packs had at least one member killed in the hunt. 12 park wolves total lost their lives. The park wolves, however, represent only a small fraction of the number of wolves killed. In the state of Montana alone, the catch was 233. And the most devastating blow could be still to come. A proposition is made by the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service to remove protection for gray wolves in all of the continental United States. Wolves across the lower 48 could now face the same type of management as the wolves in Wyoming, Montana, and Idaho. For a wolf that has experienced the hunting firsthand, 755 knows its devastating effects. His search for a new partner has now dragged on for months, with nothing to show for his efforts. But today, before even the break of dawn, he's been noticed. It's a wolf that 755 is unfamiliar with, a member of a rival pack. But as 755 draws closer to the mystery wolf, he realizes that it's a female. This could be his chance, as long as the rest of her pack isn't close by. It's dark, but 755 must do what he can to impress her. It quickly becomes clear, though, that she is not interested. She won't risk abandoning the security of her pack to join company with a loner. In only a few days' time, she returns to her pack, and 755 returns to being alone. But 755's troubles are only just beginning. He needs to eat to stay strong. But bears now dominate the Yellowstone landscape. Although 755's thin frame is a fraction of a bear's body mass, hunger now drives him to a carcass in an area frequented by grizzlies. His sense of smell soon alerts him that he's not alone. But this isn't over yet. 755 has escaped with his life in an encounter which could have claimed it. "755 must go back to the work of survival, but luck may finally be on his side. He spends the next several months paired with a new female. She is only half his age, but she does carry a limp that has the potential to hinder the couple's movements. That is a risk 755 is willing to take. Through the fall and the winter, the pair survives. At last, a full year after the death of 755's famous mate, he will have another chance to breed and potentially become the founder of a second pack. The stakes have never been higher, with the denning season only a month away. The task that 755 and his partner now face is one that wolves in Yellowstone have completed for 1,000 generations. Wild and untamed, wolves ruled the wilderness of the Rocky Mountains up until the 19th century. But in the late 1800s, pressure began to build to eradicate wolves from Yellowstone. Cited as a threat to livestock and large game animals by park administration, wolves were trapped, shot, and poisoned for decades until the last Yellowstone wolves were killed in 1926. Wolves remained absent from the park for almost 70 years, until wildlife officials boldly reintroduced them in 1995. The backlash from residents proved to be immense. As the population of wolves grew, so did the controversy. The annual hunting that the wolves endure today is a direct result of this worry and uproar that struck the hearts and minds of the public. It proves to be a difficult time in the park's history for a wolf like 755 to try to start a family. And finally, the critical point has been reached regarding 755's entire future. It is time for his female partner to den and have their pups. The time is right, the conditions are right, and the opportunity is there for the taking. But 755's partner doesn't den. She has no pups. Not long after, she parts ways with 755. Once again, he is without a family. The wind of fate has carried the lone wolf to this very point in his life. There is no hiding the fact that in his quest to return to glory, he has failed to this point. But while his goal lies unaccomplished, success can be found in what his life has symbolized. His story, in many ways, mirrors the long history of wolves in Yellowstone. Just as wolves once reigned as undisputed kings of the landscape, so too did 755 reign as a true king among wolves, the alpha male of a successful pack. But like his ancestors at the turn of the century, 755 was brought to a point of total devastation by the work of a bullet. The journey to redemption for both the individual and the species has been long and arduous, and is still incomplete. Until their role in the ecosystem is fully realized by the public, wolves will remain fugitives in their own land. And until 755 can become an alpha once again, he will remain an icon for his persecuted species, a tried and true Yellowstone devil dog.
You and I fear the same every day. For everything they say, we shoulder all the blame when everyone's in pain. It's the game that they play.